send it in early, and then go and vote.
President Donald Trump was in North Carolina where he told voters to vote twice. This stuff is too funny. Now, I'm also going to get to in a bit how hypocritical he's being here based on an interview that he had back in May, and also why this is a problem. Because, you know, it's easy to not take this guy seriously, but a lot of his supporters do take him seriously. First, though, let's get to the clip and Kayleigh McEnany, the White House press secretary here, defending it.
President Trump has taken a lot of heat for suggesting that his supporters should vote twice. He said this. Listen.
On your ballots, if you get the unsolicited ballots, send it in and then go make sure it counted. And if it doesn't tabulate, you vote. You just vote. And then if they tabulate it very late, which they shouldn't be doing, they'll see you voted and so it won't count. So send it in early and then go and vote.
That would obviously, if that's the suggestion, be against the law, Kayleigh. Why did the president say that?
The president is not suggesting anyone do anything unlawful. What he said very clearly there is make sure your vote is tabulated, and if it is not, then vote. Basically, when you get a absentee ballot and you send it in, there are poll books, and it is recorded that you have tried to vote, that you have in fact voted. And if you show up at a polling site, they look at the poll book and say your vote's been counted. He wants verification. Democrats want a whole new fraudulent system of mail-in voting, never tried before in American history. And what Democrats are saying to you is trust us, but don't verify. And what this president is saying is verify your vote,
but Kayleigh,
make sure it's tabulated.
Send it in early and then go and vote. Isn't that telling someone to go vote twice?
The president said send it in early, go and see if it's been tabulated. If it hasn't been tabulated, then vote. It's very clear. What Democrats are saying is we want a system full of fraud, and we want zero accountability and zero verification that you voted, when we know that hundreds of thousands of ballots were not counted in 2016 before we had this fraudulent system, were not counted.
So much to ask.
All right. Now, apart from Trump's comments, which of course I'll dive into in a second, Kayleigh McEnany here discussing how Democrats want a whole new fraudulent voting system of mail-in balloting. Mail-in voting has been around since the Civil War. Yes, this time there's going to be more people mailing in their ballot because of COVID, but the system is not fraudulent. It's been around forever. Trump has voted by mail. Did Trump commit voter fraud by doing that? So again, you get this complete BS White House line about mail-in balloting. But to get to Trump's comments here about voting twice, now, there's just no way to defend this. You could say, hey, look, Trump was just talking about verifying your vote, but even that is dangerous. So there is a way to do that without actually going to the polling location after you've already mailed in your ballot. I'll get to that in a second. First here, important to remind people that are maybe thinking about this, it is illegal to vote twice. And while election laws vary by state, it would amount to a Class 1 felony offense in North Carolina. So it would be a felony to vote twice, to do what Trump said in North Carolina. So don't do it. Now, North Carolina State Board of Elections had to come out here saying that, telling voters it is illegal to vote twice after Trump's comments. Let me give you what they say here. And if you are worried about, wanting to verify your vote, how to actually do that without going in person on election day. So this is from the actual state board here, saying the state board has a dedicated investigations team that investigates allegations of double voting, which are referred to prosecutors when warranted. If you request an absentee mail or by mail ballot, but decide later that you would like to vote in person instead, you may. You should discard your absentee ballot. Do not send it back in. If you have already placed your ballot in the mail but are not sure whether it has been accepted by your county board of elections, North Carolina offers a few ways to check the status of your absentee by mail ballot without leaving your home. Voters can 1. Check your voter record at the state board's voter search tool to find out whether your ballot was accepted by your county board of elections. This information will appear in the voter record after a ballot has been accepted. 2, sign up for Ballot Tracks, which when it launches in the next few days to track your ballot through the system. Ballot Tracks is a new service that will allow voters to track their ballot through the mail and confirm receipt by the County Board of Elections, much like they can track their online order or pizza delivery. When it launches, a link will be available at that website. Contact your County Board of Elections if you have questions about their ballot status. Now, of course, this is North Carolina. This kind of stuff varies by state, but check your state to see how you can verify your mail-in ballot. There are likely ways just like this that North Carolina has. The State Board office strongly discourages people from showing up at the polls on Election Day to check whether their absentee ballot was counted. That is not necessary and would lead to longer lines and the possibility of spreading COVID-19. Now, of course, Trump doesn't care about that. In fact, Trump would prefer there to be longer lines and there being issues with voting. But this is something you should not do. Do not show up on Election Day if you already sent in your mail-in ballot. There are, as I discussed, ways to check if your ballot was accepted. North Carolina election officials encourage voters to request their ballot as soon as possible and return it as soon as they are ready to do so. By doing so, you can track your ballot and ensure your vote counts. So if that's what you're actually worried about, there are obviously ways to do that without showing up on Election Day. Now, I got to show this. This was posted by Parker Malloy. This is Trump back in May.
The level of dishonesty with Democrat voting is unbelievable. If you told a Republican to vote twice, they'd get sick at even the thought of it. And you have people that vote numerous times. What's happening is crazy.
I mean, if there isn't a tweet, there's a video. Trump yesterday, just to go over this, if you get the unsolicited ballots, send it in early, then go and vote a second time. Trump in May, if you told a Republican to vote twice, they'd get sick at even the thought of it. I mean, this is unsurprising for Trump. Now, look, someone like me, I don't take this all that seriously, or I wouldn't take it seriously if it wasn't for this kind of stuff. Poison Control Center calls spike after President Trump suggests injections of disinfectant. If his supporters are going to take his healthcare advice, why wouldn't they take his voting advice? So if you do see a massive spike in voter fraud this November, it's going to be from Republicans listening to Donald Trump, thinking that they're going to get their vote counted twice, thinking that they're helping Donald Trump. In reality, they're going to be a felon. Also, CBS News, Arizona man dies, wife ill after taking drug touted as virus treatment. Quote, Trump kept saying it was basically pretty much a cure. So there are people out there that take Trump literally. This is why stories like this do matter, because there may be a spike in voting fraud this fall, and possibly a lot of that stuff won't be caught till afterwards. Trump, of course, doesn't care. Just going to end on this. Bernie Sanders tweeting out, for years, Donald Trump has lied about, quote, voter fraud. Now he proceeds to tell the people of North Carolina to commit a felony by voting twice. This is not a president who believes in democracy. He's an authoritarian who must be defeated. Completely agree.